Hey, toy lovers, welcome to DadsDen of Pop Culture, and today we're looking at the new reaction figures, the Micronauts from Super 7, delivered to my house a couple, 3 days ago, and they're pretty darn cool. Let's take a look at both of them. This first wave, Biotron and Baron Karza, and we will be taking these off card to get a closer look. Let's move Biotron out of the way a little bit first and take a close look at the card. Really nice image there of Baron Karza, leader of the evil Acroyer, enemy of the Micronauts. And we get the classic logo up there. We'll take a quick look at him, but we're going to take him out of there. And on back, we get Micronauts with Baron Karza and Biotron. We get a little data card a la the old Transformers. Baron Karza, function leader of the Acroyer. Baron Karza was the head scientist of the royal family on Homeworld until he carried out a coup. Karza ruled Homeworld for over 1,000 years and was eventually opposed by the Micronauts. The Micronauts battled Karza numerous times, with Karza seemingly being killed on several occasions, only to return each time. And I believe some of that comes from the comic books done by Bill Mantlo for Marvel, because there's kind of an interesting history to the Micronauts. They were part of a toy line in Japan called Microman. That was produced in 1974. Now, they would come to the United States via Mego in 1976. Now, in Japan, the Micromen would get adapted into a sister toy line of these little changeable robots. You see, because the Micromen were supposed to be actual size. They came from Micro-Earth. And these were items that you could find around the house, but were actually robots in disguise. Well, of course, a lot of these toys are brought over in 1984 as Transformers in the United States. We're talking Megatron, we're talking Soundwave and the cassettes. Okay, you get the idea. Now, they had a very different backstory, if they had any backstory at all, in Japan. The other funny thing is that the Microman toy line was developed from the Henshin Cyborg toy line, which was developed from the Combat Joe toy line, which was taken from the United States. It was G.I. Joe. And we're talking the large G.I. Joes of the past. So, some interesting cultural exchange between the United States and Japan. But these characters were given a whole life by Bill Mantlo in the Micronauts comic. And I'm certainly hoping some of those characters that he kind of really fleshed out make it into future waves of this toy line. We'll have to see. And there's the back with the Biotron function. Personal assistant. Biotron was Commander Arcturus Rand's personal assistant and constant companion. He served as Rand's remote explorer, and the two were able to link telepathically. He was destroyed during the Karza Wars. Fortunately, his memory banks were recovered, and he has since been rebuilt several times. There's Biotron. Okay, now, the original toys these are based on were larger. So these have been shrunk down to the normal reaction size and to the size of a lot of the Micronaut toys, the more normal Micronauts. They were sort of the metal and transparent plastic look, etc. Okay, so we're going to take these out of these packages now. And tell you what, the card art is so beautiful. I almost want to buy another copy of both just so I can keep them on card. As much as I like taking stuff out and put it on shelves, man, these are gorgeous. They're just beautiful. But at any rate, we're going to take them out and we're going to look at these and compare them. Well, I don't have any actual old Micronaut figures, but I do have a couple old Micronaut vehicles. We'll take a quick look at those and we'll compare them to a toy line that actually helped them be pretty successful early on. So there will be a cut, and these will suddenly be out of their little plastic tombs. And here they are, off the cards. Let's take a look at Biotron first. Because let's be honest, Karza's the money. Karza's the even cooler character. So here's a close look at him. Forward and side. Reverse. Okay, so let's see what moves on this guy. Well, head does not move. Does this open up in front? No, it does not appear to. Arms move. The hand does twist. And you notice there is, I think I actually have that backwards there, but you notice you could conceivably put some kind of weapon, some kind of device in the hand. So both those move. Legs move. And we twist at the waist. Okay. And this dude on the back does move around. Oh, there we go. And comes off. Okay. And it looks like a tread. And I believe that was kind of the idea behind this guy. That he can maybe like turn into sort of a land vehicle probe thing. I'm not positive, but there you go. So there's Biotron. Let's look at Baron Karza, who obviously has a bit of a Darth Vader look to him. See if we can get a good focus. There we go. So there's Karza from the side. From the rear. See his evil badonkadonk. Did I just say that? No, Micronaut. I think I did. Okay, now, one of the cool things about Micronauts was that you could take them apart and put them together in interesting ways. And that played a part into how they were jointed. Now, this one, you will notice the leg moves quite a bit. It doesn't actually come apart from what I can see. I've put a little bit of pressure on it, but not too much. We do have knee movement, though. We do have waist movement. Movement at the elbows. The hands do not move in particular, but we do have, see how the arm moves there. Okay. Head moves back and forth. And we got his backpack, rocket pack, and it is removable, as I've seen in the pictures, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it on at the moment. All right, so now, like I said, he actually resembles Darth Vader a little bit. These toys were released in the United States in 1976 by Mego. There was a pretty big, famous movie that came out in that time period. And when it came out, it made kids absolutely starving for sci-fi toys. And they were sci-fi toys they weren't going to get because those very famous figures, now I got one from a later entry in that particular series, but those figures were not coming out yet. They were going to take a little bit of time. And so with those not available, these were nice substitute space toys for Star Wars fanatics. And even after the Star Wars figures were released, the Micronaut stuff still worked pretty well with that line. Now, I will say this, if you look at a couple of the vehicles, which were also modular and would come apart, we have the Rhodium, this is the Rhodium orbiter, and I can't think of what the other one is called now. Similar name. They were also modular. They'd come apart. Now, Star Wars figures would not generally fit in here. The Micronauts these were really designed for were a little bit smaller. But it didn't stop you from using them. And so these particular Micronauts, I feel pretty sure, are not going to fit inside one of these things either. As you can see, he can almost get there, but not quite. And I don't know if they're going to put out sort of the more basic Micronaut, figure replicas that'll maybe be a little smaller and maybe fit in. They might. Not sure about that, which would be cool. But even if they don't, that's fine. This is a good looking series, but you get an idea of where these fit in. Now, of course, as Star Wars figures ultimately really took off, well, Micronauts were not going to probably be able to compete. So they did become, probably the toy line that maybe you'd get from grandma because she didn't know the difference, but it wasn't necessarily what kids at the time wanted, because man, all your friends had Star Wars figures. You want Star Wars figures too. Too bad though, because these things are really, really awesome. And I think that Super 7 has done a really nice job of giving us these replicas. They're very cool. They look really great. And, I don't have a lot of these things from my childhood, so very happy to be able to display these on a shelf, and I'm looking forward to many more waves. Let's get a real extreme close-up here of old Biotron. They're just very handsome figures. Very toyetic. Has so much stuff done in Japan. Oh, I should note, yeah, his knees also will move. So much stuff from that period in Japan is just absolutely gorgeous. And like I was saying, there was a lot of interesting cross-pollination between the United States and Japan during this period in terms of toys, in terms of cartoons, movies, etc. It was a glorious, glorious time for sci-fi. It really was. Still had Star Trek in play. You had lots of cool movies. You had Starlog magazine wrapping it all together for you, like our version of the internet. You had so many different figures and so many lines that even the ones that didn't sell very well are cherished to this day because the design was just so damn cool on many of these things. So I think this is so far a really good looking line from Super 7. I believe the price point is $20 on each of these. So they're not bad. The card art is gorgeous. The figures look good. Generally good quality from Super 7, so I don't think you have to worry about that, especially if you're primarily just going to be displaying these things. I will note the holes on the feet so you can put them on stands if you need to. Never a bad idea. And you might with Karza, based on the size and based on that backpack. I think that the feet are large enough on Biotron. I don't think he's going to have any trouble. Although if you wanted to put him in a running posture, maybe you'd want to do that. But great looking figures. Really glad I got these, and I am definitely looking forward to future waves and hoping for some of the Micronaut comic characters to make their way into this. Arcturus Ran. I want to say Marionette. Now the Bug might not make it in because I think the Bug, being a very original creation, still belongs to Marvel. So that character might be out. But some of the others might make it in, and who knows, maybe they'll get some Ultimates, which will be bigger sized, more the size of some of the Micronaut toys of the time, and who knows, maybe we'll even get some vehicles coming through. Looking forward to it. So if you have any questions at all, or if you have any comments about these, maybe you've got some yourself, maybe you have the originals, Lucky Duck. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, maybe share with a friend. But in the meantime, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. Get yourself some Micronauts. Maybe fight a little war with them. And I will see you hopefully again soon in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.